Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new around here, hello, welcome, my name is Charlotte. Today, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I, for a while, wanted to do a video where you guys can get to know me a little bit more. I can share with you guys some more stuff about my life, because outside of books and booktube, I don't really talk about my life that much. I have mentioned a few things, but not a lot. And I was going to do this video anyway, but then I realised that I would be putting it up a couple of days before my 22nd birthday. I thought, why not do it in honour of my birthday? And I initially thought I could just do like a 22 facts about me, because obviously I'm turning 22. And then I thought, rather than it being like fact 1, fact 2, I do more of like a sit down, make it flow, conversation, just kind of like venting sort of thing, because I feel like I want to do this. There are some things that I really just would love to just talk about. Some stuff are really fun, some stuff aren't. So I've got a list of stuff that I want to talk about, and I'm going to start chronologically. I'm going to go from the moment I was born to now. Excited but very nervous to do this video, because there are some stuff that I'm going to talk about that I have, as I said, always wanted to talk about, but have been terrified to. So I'm just going to dive straight in and then you guys can learn a little bit more about me. So obviously, as you all know, my name is Charlotte. My middle name is Victoria, for anybody who wants to know that. I was born on the 16th of March in 1999 in Brighton in England. My parents have been married for 23 years this June, and they've both been in like previous relationships. So then that leads into my family. As I have said in my 500 subscriber Q&A, I have one stepbrother, one half brother and two half sisters. They're just my brothers and sisters. They are just my brother John and my brother Jason and my sister Michelle and my sister Sammy. They are all a lot older than me, and I never lived with any of them apart from when they came to visit their dad. They're all my dad's kids, and I have nieces and nephews from all my siblings. I've got a nephew from my older brother, a nephew from my older sister, two step nephews, but my nephews, and a full nephew from my other brother, and three nieces from my younger sister. Kind of an only child, but not, because I've lived an only child life, because I've grown up with just living with my parents, but then I've also got older siblings. Obviously, as a kid, you go to school, and I've always lived in Brighton, so I've always been to a school in Brighton. And one thing that I've never said on this channel, and I don't say to many people in real life, only to the people that I know I'm gonna become friends with and that I trust, every time I tell people this, it's always the same reaction. And I don't know why I get nervous having to say it, because I know some of my friends from school have said it to people and they hadn't had a bad reaction. And it's not like a bad reaction, it's not like someone's gone, oh, you're the worst because of that. It's just assumptions. And I know this is like the most privileged thing to be worried about, but it's still that thing of people judging you and thinking you're something that you're not. Since the age of pretty much nursery, so like 3 up until 16, I went to private schools. Just want to get it out there, I'm not rolling in it. My parents aren't millionaires, and I'm not posh. I'm probably posher than some people because I'm from the south of England, and it's not like all of my other siblings went to private schools. I'm the only kid in literally my whole family, like I'm talking my whole family, like cousins, second cousins, to go to a private school. When my parents were growing up and even into their adulthood, they didn't have the jobs and the money that they have now. My parents have worked hard at the jobs that they have now to get them where they are now, and they decided with the money that they both have collectively to send me to a private school. As I said, I know it's a very privileged thing to talk about and to be worried about people judging you for, but private school people, if you are one, you know the judgment we get. People automatically assume that you're rolling in it, and it's not. My parents knew they had enough money to send me to a private school because they wanted to. They thought it would give me a better chance. I'm not saying that going to a state school can't, because sometimes I think I probably would have been the same at state school, but it's just that they knew they had this money that they could spare to spend it on me going to a private school and still live comfortably. But also one thing I wanted to mention which goes along with that, which I think is just so fun, and sometimes isn't necessarily down to private school, but 9 out of 10 times it probably is. With going to private schools, I did go to school with a few famous people, kids. And when I say famous people, I'm not saying that I went to school with the Beckhams or something like that, like no. In primary school, a girl that was in my class and in my year who I was friends with, and I went to her house, her dad was in Midsummer Murders. It was DC Ben Jones. And because our school was quite small, I was friends with his daughter. I went to his house a couple of times. He was a really nice guy. If this is a video of me like rating my experience with celebrities, to me he was just a dad. He was just like my friend's dad. And then when I was in nursery, I went to school with the son of the guy who did Blue's Clues, the UK Blue's Clues, of course. His name's Kevin, not the son, the guy who actually did Blue's Clues. I think he had the same name on Blue's Clues, but if you remember Kevin from Blue's Clues, I went to school with his son. Then in secondary school, a girl who was a couple of years younger than me, her mum is Patsy Palmer, Bianca from EastEnders. They're all now in America, and she's now a model, the daughter. And I follow her on Instagram. I'm just like, I used to go to school with you. I went to the same primary school from nursery to year 5. But in year 5 for me, the school closed because I don't think it was getting enough money. I think there was a loads of bullying, so parents were pulling their kids out of school. So the school closed. And at the time, it was like the worst thing that could happen for me because I'd never moved schools before. I knew people who had moved schools, but I'd never moved schools before. And I was a very sensitive, timid child. And that's another thing. I used to get picked on quite a lot because I was quite sensitive. I think because then I got picked on for being sensitive and crying. I've taken that into my adulthood and into now, and I find it quite hard to cry in front of people, and I find it embarrassing to cry in front of people, and I think it stems from my childhood, so psychoanalyzing myself. Even though I didn't have the best time at that school, I was like, this is the worst thing that could happen to me, I don't want to leave this school, I love this school. And then for year 6, which is the final year of primary school, I moved to a new private school within Brighton, and then they had a senior school, so I went on to that one. And as I said, at the time, it was the worst thing that could happen to me moving schools. In the long run, I am so happy that I moved, because I went and found the friends that I did at this school, and I probably wouldn't be the person I am today. I'm just glad I escaped that school, because I'm going chronologically. This goes into year 6, so my final year in primary school, and this is kind of the last time when we talk about primary school. One thing I thought would be really fun to talk about is the time I went to Disneyland Paris. In year 6, I went for like 2 nights to Disneyland Paris with my mum, my friend from my old primary school, and her mum, and we just spent like a couple of days, or even like a day at the park. And I've always known that I've never liked rides, but we found this one ride in the hotel. It makes it look really fun, and we're like, spot the fishes, oh there's a fish, oh it looks so fun. It's called Crusher's Coaster, so if you've ever been to Disneyland Paris or Disneyland in general, you might know it. I still have flashbacks. This is over 10 years ago, and I still have flashbacks to this, because it's from Finding Nemo, and you know Crush, the turtle, whatever you want to call him. So you're in that show, and you're like, oh, you know, you've got 2 people, so it's a round thing, you've got 2 people here, 2 people there, so you're back to back, and I'm just there like, this seems a bit more terrifying than spotting fishes, but okay. You're going into darkness, and you're kind of cruising along, and you stop. 11-year-old me, who doesn't like rides, freaking out, being like, Mum, and then you get chucked backwards and forwards, up and down, round and round, in the dark. And my mum came up being like, I've never heard you scream so loudly. And this is the woman who raised me. This is the woman who raised me when I was a baby, crying. Oh my god. Never liked rides since. That's the fun thing about me. I hate rides. When I went up to senior school in this new school I was in, it was a lot better. It was 100% a lot better. Obviously, at any school, there's going to be people you don't like, and there's going to be the popular girls, and there's going to be the bitchy girls. But at the end of the day, it was such a good decision for me to move to that school, and senior school was a good experience for me. In year 7, I made friends with somebody who became my best friend, and it was so weird looking back that I was friends with her, because we're completely different people now. There's no bad blood between us or anything like that, you know, we just stopped being friends because we just drifted, and it was such a nice breakup, as you could say. And then as I kind of got into year 9, I slowly started to become friends with other people, and most of them are still my friends now. We all just bonded and just got on really well, even if that was some of us were friends before or knew each other for a long time before. We just all got on really well. Even if we don't see each other and speak to each other as much, because obviously COVID and uni, they're my girls, and I see them enough to always know that they're my friends. And other people have joined in the group, and we're just a really great, massive group. I thought I'd also talk about some of my school trips, because school trips were the one. I initially started off in primary school. In year 4 and year 5, as I was in choir, the school decided to take the choir to Belgium 2 years in a row for like 4 nights, 3 nights, to sing in cathedrals or churches. I don't know why. And it was fun though, I had some good times, and I think it really got me accustomed to being away from home and just having fun and going on school trips, and I just adored school trips from that time on. I have still loads of memories from those trips, even though they were literally like probably like 15 years ago. Then moving on to secondary school, we went to France in year 7 for like a night, and it was the worst trip ever, but jokingly the worst trip ever. Like, it was so disorganised and so pointless, but a lot of fun at the same time. My best friend broke a bed, some people ran off to go to the beach when we were like 12. And then year 8 I went to Germany, which again was a hoot. Germany was so fun. That was when Hunger Games was a thing, so we were all obsessing over Hunger Games. And then I didn't go into a school trip until year 11, and I went to both Berlin and Prague. I technically shouldn't have gone because I didn't do history GCSE, and it was a history GCSE trip, but they had spaces, so they were like, does anyone want to go? I was like, screw it. I've been on a school trip for a while, let's go. And it was just a really good chance for me to just have a bit of fun. And I also did a lot of theatre stuff at school because I love drama and I love going to the theatre. For GCSE, I went to a lot of stuff at the Brighton Theatre Royal. I saw stuff like Kinder Transport and The Woman in Black, which was really good. Also The Importance of Being Earnest and The History Boys, which was so good. And then we did a couple of times we went up to London. So in the first year we went to see Billy Elliot, which was so good. And the year after that we saw Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which wasn't that good. I kind of went in with no context and it wasn't the best, and I don't really remember anything. Some of the theatre trips, especially the ones that we went up to London and we felt more like we had more independence, they were the good ones. So I thought I'd talk about my GCSEs. I have 10 GCSEs to my name. I got 2 A's, 3 C's and 5 B's. So I wasn't like an amazing or a terrible student. I was pretty goddamn average. And that is like a trend for me. So I got an A in drama and an A in English literature. I got my C's in French, biology and chemistry. Languages and science were never my thing. I got a B in physics, a B in RE, religious education, a B in geography, a B in English language, and a B in maths. They weren't anything too mad. A couple of my friends got all A stars, and I'm so proud of them for that because they deserve it. And obviously, as I said before, theatre and drama have been a massive thing for me in my life. I've always kind of wanted to be an actor, like it's always been in the back of my head. I don't know if I ever would be because confidence is low. I've always done acting stuff and always, obviously as I said, I did drama GCSE and even like extracurricular drama stuff. I remember in the year 2 nativity, I was the Sleepy Shepherd in the play called The Sleepy Shepherd. In my primary school, when you kind of got to the junior school, which to Americans this is not going to make sense, but I feel like maybe to English people this will make sense. So in junior school, so year 3 to year 6, you all did a play together, so year 3s to year 6 all did a play together or a musical together. And it was very rare for year 3s to get like a big role or to get a named role. You'd be like, Tree 1, Fox 2. And in that year we did The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, a musical for that. And I'm just going to say I found the soundtrack for that on Spotify like a few months ago, and oh my god, I listened to it being like, war flashbacks, war flashbacks. But I played Mrs. Beaver, and as I said, it was very rare for year 3 to get a named role. But I played Mrs. Beaver, technically Dawn French. I got a duet.
Hurry, hurry, let's move on. The witch is coming, na 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 na. Hurry, hurry, we must expect the worst. The witch is coming, we must get as our first.
And for someone who Narnia is their whole life now, I think that's my shining moment.
Hi, yeah, it's Editing Charlotte here, and I went back and I found the musical again, and I've just listened to, not all of it, I just listened to a selection of songs, and oh my god, who wrote that musical? It's terrible, it's terrible. You literally have people going, Turkish Delight, for a whole song, Turkish Delight. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind.
In my newer primary school, year 6 did like a big play, like a Leavers play, and we did Mary Poppins. I played one of the maids, so it wasn't like a shining moment, it wasn't like an amazing part, but it was pretty good. I had quite fun doing that play. In my secondary school, year 7s did their own play at the end of the year, and we did a modern day version of Noah's Ark. Let that sink in. It was called Splash. I played one of many rats, and we were like an evil gang of rats who wanted to take over the ship, but then I turned into the good rat. I was Harry the rat, and I was like, no, we're not gonna kill these animals, or we're not gonna take over this ship. And so I hit the main rat, who was played by a girl in my year, who's now one of my friends, over the head with a blow-up hammer. I didn't really do any other plays after that because my confidence was just not it, and I wasn't confident enough to put myself out there. What happens every year is that the sixth formers, which is college, not gonna go into that, it's too much to explain. In our houses during the second term, they would basically curate a house play, and it'll be like a competition. So I did that for years 8, 9, 10, 11. The first year, I think I played Jacob Black, dressed up in a dog costume, and I played Jacob from Twilight. Not as in fit Taylor Lautner Jacob, literally as in like a domestic dog Jacob. But then in year 11, when I kind of knew some of the girls that were kind of creating it, I ended up playing Cheryl Cole. So after secondary school, after senior school, I could have stayed on at my school sixth form, but I knew I wanted to do film. I knew I wanted to study film, do film studies, but they didn't have that at my sixth form. I kind of just thought, I've been to a private school my whole life, and that was my parents' decision. Now I felt like I had more choice and more input into what I wanted to do, and my parents are so great. They've never been like, you have to do this and you have to do this. They've always accepted what I wanted to do and been fine with what I wanted to do, and I'm very lucky that they have. So when I said to them, I don't think I want to go to the sixth form, I think I might go to this other college, which is state, which they don't have to pay for, they were like, yeah, that's fine if that's what you want to do.
Once again, Editing Charlotte here. My dad also went to the college. He was like one of the first years to go there, so I don't think my dad was going to argue.
So half my friendship group stayed at the sixth form and half of us went to the college. It's pretty much a thing within all year 11s within Brighton or whatever, is you either stay on at your sixth form if they have one, or you either go to like 2 colleges within Brighton. I'm so glad I went to that college because it meant I was now studying with boys. It kind of like opened my eyes a little bit. Not that I was like blind to boys, but it's that thing I never really experienced since like year 3, having education with guys. So then at college I studied English language, drama and theatre studies and film studies. They weren't the best grades, and I'm surprised I got into my uni with them, but that's my uni. I got a B in English language, a C in film studies, and a D in drama. I'm not good at exams. I'm terrible at exams. I could have got so much better grades if everything I've ever done is all coursework. I'm terrible at exams because I'm terrible under pressure in that sort of sense. But now it doesn't really matter, you know, I've got a degree, so it doesn't matter. So I'm really glad I moved to that college because I met new people, I made new friends, I got new experiences, stuff I don't think I'd get if I stayed on at the sixth form. And those 2 years there changed a lot. If I said to myself the year before or just before I moved there, like, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen within the next 6 months, I just wouldn't have believed it. And that is because I fell out with, and a lot of us fell out with, this one girl that we were like best friends with, and I was definitely best friends with. And at the time it was one of the worst things I thought I could have gone through because she was my best friend, and then I don't want to lose her. But now looking back on it, I'm kind of so glad it happened. Looking back, on it. It was such a small petty thing. We fell out and it wasn't the cleanest falling out. I do look back and think I could have handled that a lot better, and I could have not said some of the stuff I said, that some of the stuff I did say were not good. But as I was talking to my mum about it a few weeks ago, I was 16 and I was still learning and I was still growing. I said some stupid stuff. We all said some stupid stuff that I now look back on and go, oh my god, that was so immature. But I think that experience really taught me a lot and did a lot for me, and I'm kind of glad, even though it was horrible at the time, that I went through it. But as I said, I got to meet new people and really cemented a friendship group. Me and my friends from my secondary school, we all kind of created one big group from being in 2 separate colleges and 2 separate schools. Us at our college, we made friends with a few other people, and then they came into our group, and the same happened over at the sixth form. Girls that we'd already known from the sixth form kind of became closer with the girls who stayed at the sixth form, and we've all just become one big group, and I love those girls a lot. I really, really do. As I talked about my school trips and theatre trips, I thought I could talk about my college trips and theatre trips. I went on 2 staying away trips in college. In the first year, I went to Budapest. It was such a good time, and I met some really amazing people. People who were on my course, who weren't on my course, and we just had such a good time. Even if I don't talk to or not friends with the people that I went on with those trips, we have such good memories, and they were just so much fun because we were like 16 to 18. We had so much more freedom. And then in my final year, I went to New York. I'd been to New York previously with my mum, so I was really excited to go back because I absolutely love New York. It's one of my favourite places ever. I had so much fun in New York. So long afterwards, I look back and missed it so much. It was such a good time because, as I said, we were treated like adults because we were all like 17, 18. And I also think it was just like low-key badly organised because it was like a load of us, like 30 of us or something, with like 2 teachers. There were just times when we'd all be like walking off to go somewhere and the teacher would just leave us like 2 blocks back. Not even realising that we're waiting at the lights. There was a time when me and 2 of my friends were just able to go and see Wicked by ourselves at night and get ourselves back. It was such a freeing trip and was so much fun, and I have so many memories, so many pictures, and just so many good times on that trip. I loved it so much. And I also did theatre trips as well because I did drama. In my first year, I went to see The Seagull in Chichester. I don't really remember much about that play. I remember that Anna Chancellor was in it. She's like a British actor. A young guy who was in it looked like Jamie Campbell-Bower from afar, so I was like entranced. All I remember was there were a lot of old people there, but there's a gunshot at the end of it that comes quite surprisingly. So I was just worried that they could have killed an old person. In my second year, I went to go see King Lear, but it was a gender-bent retelling of King Lear. So instead of King Lear, it was like Queen Lear, and she was played by Glenda Jackson. And instead of the 2 sons, I think, are battling it out, it was 2 daughters. One of them was played by Celia Emery, I think that's how you pronounce her name, who, icon, legend, love her. It also had Rhys Ifans in it, and we saw this at the Old Vic in London, and it also had Harry Melling in it, who plays Dudley Dursley. I saw his penis. He stripped down butt naked. This girl that also I was friends with in my class, and we actually ended up going to the same uni together and kept bumping into each other. We were just sitting there together watching it, and he just started stripping down. Okay, he's just gonna go down to his boxers. He took his boxers off. Obviously it's fading now, but I'm never gonna unsee just like a silhouette. And when he took it off, we were like, oh my god, that's his penis. And going along with that, I just always love theatre. I constantly go to theatre stuff all the time. Could try and list off all the stuff that I've seen, but I don't think I would be able to. I'd probably forget like half of them. The ones I've seen the most are Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I've seen Thrill Alive a lot. I always get brochures from it, and it's just a thing that me and my mum love doing together, and it's just something we will continue to love to do together. And I've also been to quite a few concerts in my life. I only started really going to them when I was like 13, 14. I have got a list of all the people I've seen live. I've seen The Vamps 6 times. I've seen Conor Maynard twice, The Wanted twice, Five Sauce 3 times, Little Mix twice, Lewis Capaldi once, Nathan Sykes once, Justin Bieber once. These are all going to be one time now. So McBusted, Jessie J, Nick Jonas, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, All Time Low, One Direction, JLS, The Saturdays, Ella Henderson. There's a few other people. Lisa will like to hear that I've seen. Is it The Tide she likes? I've seen them once, but I've seen quite a few people and enjoyed my time at a lot of them. Most of them I went to as a teenager because I was very much into bands and concerts and music as a teenager. So obviously once I did college, I decided to go to university. I knew that film was the only thing that I would want to do and plausible thing to do because I was sucked at everything else, and the only thing I enjoyed was film. So I went to the University of Kent to study film, and I had a really good time. Mad stuff happened, and yes, I went through a lot and changed a lot, like more than I ever have, but I still have so many amazing memories. It feels weird saying that because in a sense I graduated a year ago, or just under a year ago. I could talk about my course for so long. I think it always baffles me when people are like, studying film is so cool, like that's just such a cool course, and to me it's not. People who don't study film still enjoy films, but they just see it as something fun and something to do on the side. So when they hear that you're studying it, they're like, that's actually quite cool. For me, it's just what I do. It's just what I want to do. And people just assume that you sit down on all your modules and you watch a film and have to like, the way they did that long shot, yes, but no. Because at first, yes, the basics is that. Once you kind of get over the basics, you start delving into theories, and it's really complicated. Like, I could talk about it for so long, and I don't have the time because I've been already filming for so long. It was tough. It was hard because I'm not the best academically and in writing. I've always been told that I have a good conversational writing style, but because I have a more informal writing style, I was never the one to put in like fancy words and make it sound educational. I just wrote what came out of my head. So obviously at uni, you're gonna make new friends and you're gonna experience new stuff. I'm so glad that I made the friends that I did at uni. I met my best friend ever at uni. She's my world. I love her so much. I remember meeting her and knowing her before because we kind of made friends with each other on Facebook because we know we were living together. But I remember, I don't know how far it was into starting at uni, but I remember we were both in like our rooms because our rooms were like next to each other. She always had her door open, and I just remember hearing the Merlin theme song, and I was like, so I ran into her room and was like, is that the Merlin theme song? She was like, yeah, it is. And I just thought, we're gonna be good friends. And then I think it was like November time of our first year. This necklace that I wear, I got given by my brother and his wife before I went to uni. It's like, oh, go off to uni, woo! It's the Saint of Travelling, Saint Christopher, I think. I might be making that up, but the Saint of Travelling. And I got it out, but like, oh, I should wear that more. So I put it on, and my friend was like, oh, you know, what is it? Can I see it? She looked at it, and then she reached to her necklace and went, we've got the same necklace. If that is not proof that we were meant to be best friends. And also, this is the necklace from Dark. So I'm just saying, it was destined that I was meant to love that show. There's just so many little things that were just like, it was so obvious that we were meant to be best friends with the stuff we like and the stuff that we watch and just all this little stuff. It was so obvious. We're just such similar people, which is so obvious we were meant to be best friends, and I love her with my whole heart. Obviously I made other friends in first year, off my course and on my course, and the people that I lived with in second year, my boys, you know I love you, even if I don't say it enough, I love you boys so much. I also just like to stay. I don't want to be like up myself. I'm the reason why two of my friends have been together for like 2 years now. Basically one of my friends, a guy that I lived with in second year, he saw one of my friends from my course and was like, oh, she's really fit, and then I ended up kind of setting them up, and they've been together since. So I don't know why I'm talking about their relationships, but the reason is because I'm going into my relationships. Or the lack of. Yeah, I've never been in a relationship. I don't know if you've got that from the amount of times I've probably said it. It troubled me when I was younger, when I was like 16, 17, because at that age you're like, oh, I want to be in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. But as I got older and I kind of got to like 18, 19, into uni, it didn't really bother me. I was fine about it. Like, I just thought, oh, it will happen when it will happen. I think it is a little bit harder for me now, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm seeing people my age or people a little bit older than me getting married, having kids, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just here like, I've never been in a relationship, and even just like seeing couples, it sounds really sad. It does bug me and it does kind of get me down now. I try to not let it, but it's kind of hard. I just got to remind myself that it will happen when it will happen. Going along with that and with uni, I had a massive thing, a massive kind of moment in my life in first year of uni. I don't really know how it started and how it kind of began to happen. Nearer the end of my first year of uni, I came to the realization, and I don't really know how to word it without it sounding weird, that I'm bisexual. Why did I say it like that? I'm bisexual.
Hi, yes, Editing Charlotte here. And again, when I was filming that and when I said it, it felt fine because I was by myself and it didn't feel too weird. But now that I'm watching it back, it just sounds so weird, even though it's been nearly 3 years since, as I said, I came to the realization. But it feels weird. I hate that it does, but it does. I hate this.
Was it because I was watching a load of Hayley Kiyoko music videos? Maybe it was. I came out to my parents. I still look back on that moment with actual hatred, actual fear, even though it was a fine coming out. I hate it because it made me feel so vulnerable. I was upstairs visiting home in my bedroom at home, and I was like, I've just got to do it. Just got to do it. So I went downstairs, freaking out, like already starting to cry. My parents were like, what's wrong with that? I was like, oh, I need to tell you something. My dad thought I'd left my key back at uni. And then I just said to them, I was like, oh, I'm bisexual. My dad laughed. My dad laughed because he was just like, you're crying over this. Not like making fun of me, but just because to him it's nothing serious. I always knew that my parents were going to accept me and they're never going to hate me and whatever and be fine with it. But I was just, as a person, very scared. And my mum just got up and hugged me and was like, it's fine, like, you know. My dad was just like, you're a mess. And as I was saying before, uni was a great time for me. As I said, I loved it. But also it came with a lot of troubles. And this is the part of the video that I'm terrified to talk about because I've never really talked about it on this channel, and I've talked about it with some people off booktube, like some of my actual booktube friends, and really only with my best friend. And my parents are the ones that know the most because I'm close in that sense to my parents. My mum said that dinner's in 10 to 20 minutes. So if I don't finish filming this, whoops, we'll try and speed it up. I don't know when I would say it started. I think maybe around like year 10 to year 11 and going onwards, I kind of always knew that I was the bigger one in my friendship group. And I'm not saying that as if I was like fat, as in bigger. I always just thought I was the biggest, and that did affect my confidence a lot. I think, you know, when I was in year 10 and year 11, it was never a thing in my mind. I hated it, I didn't like it, but as a kid it was hard for me to try and change that. But I do just want to say that I know I was never like fat. I was just a bit bigger, and I'm trying to use those words in the best way I can. But I've always had body confidence issues, like I think most people in the world do. But it wasn't until my second year of uni that I actually actively, like properly wanted to change that, because I knew it would probably make me better. And I'm not saying that losing weight and all that sort of stuff is the key and is the way, it's just I knew for me it was. And you could say within 6 months maybe I lost a stone, and I have actually maintained that for the past couple of years, which hasn't been my goal, but I have realised that I'm happy as I am. I wouldn't mind losing a bit more because I just, as a personal thing, that's just what I would want to do, but I also wouldn't mind just staying as I am now, as having the weight I am now. And this is so weird to talk about online because I've never ever talked about it. It's always been a thing that I've never talked about ever. The only time that I've talked about it is with like my parents, because they're my parents, and also my best friend because she knows me the best and she's closest to me, and I've literally lived with her for 3 years, so she's noticed that I've lost weight and stuff like that. And I think it's not until recently that I've just been starting to really love and become comfortable with my body and kind of see my body as something that I'm meant to love and that I can love. And the other week I was looking back at like old videos of mine that I used to post when I was in college and beginning of uni, and you can definitely see that I have lost weight, and seeing that made me feel better. And as I said, I know that's not the answer for everybody, but for me, seeing that I looked slimmer was just something I needed. And I just looked at myself and thought, I just don't like who I was then. I don't like how I looked back then. I like me now, and that's the most important thing, I think. And kind of going along with that, some people know outside of booktube, and I think probably people on booktube do know, because I've vlogged it and stuff, that my mental health is never amazing. I know the turning point. For 2019, never really had any bad mental health, but I kind of know the turning point, and I think I know the trigger. And at the beginning of 2019, I went back to uni early to get essays done, and I was alone in my house. It was horrible. I hated it. I was terrified. I had to come home, and from then on my mental health has never been amazing. Constantly just been feeling anxious and constantly been feeling down. I've done counselling, I've done CBT, but because I'm not someone who can easily talk, I don't open up to people very well, and when I try, my voice and my brain just stops. There's times in my head where I can literally just say everything that I want to say to people or to my parents, but when it actually comes to saying it, it's like there's a filter. It's like my mouth just stops and I can't. So that's why counselling and therapy and stuff like that has never really been the thing for me. Over the past couple of years, it's always been very up and down. There have been 2 points that the worst was last summer, just before last summer, where I just spent days in bed. Because my dad has dealt with similar things, he was like, you need to call a doctor. It didn't really help because they put me on more like, because obviously COVID, they put me on like online CBT, and it just didn't work. At the beginning of this year, I had a dip again, probably one of my worsts. And I think what really probably helped it was the fact that when the doctor called me and was like, so hi Charlotte, you know, I know you want to talk to me, how are you feeling? My brain just paused, my brain just stopped, and I was, you know, usually when you're on the phone and someone asks how you are, you say I'm fine. I knew I was meant to say that I'm not fine because it was obvious that I wasn't, because I'd called up to talk about my mental health. I just couldn't say anything, and I just broke down and just handed the phone to my dad, and he just ended up telling the doctor everything. And because of that, I'm now on medication, even though it's not the ideal thing. Like I don't want to be on medication. Like I don't think anybody wants to be on medication to help them live their life. It's the best thing that I need right now. 100% help me. Like, oh my god, I've definitely been a lot happier and just a lot me, really. I've just been so much more like, I want to do this, I want to get on with it. I'm not, you know, just so much more positive. And as I said, I don't want to be on it for the rest of my life, but for now it's what I need. Just gonna move on to the last 2 things, and that's basically COVID. I was meant to have a graduation, like a proper graduation, a ceremony and all, back in July. July 2020, but obviously COVID hit. I went into lockdown on March 23rd and I was able to come home the day before, and I've been here since. So I had to do my final essays online. Didn't get a proper graduation. Obviously I graduated, I got my degree. I haven't actually been able to have a proper graduation, which sucks. I haven't been able to celebrate graduating. I was meant to have a graduation ball, I was meant to have a summer ball, I was meant to go to Cannes bloody Film Festival. None of that happened because of bloody COVID. A year that was meant to be one of the best in my life so far, and meant to be such a fun and celebratory year, and a year where I was meant to go into bigger and better things, and hopefully, I'm not saying I would definitely have gone into an industry job. Instead, you know, I finished uni, I did my essays, I got my degree, got a job in hospitality, I got a job as a waitress. I absolutely loved it there. I have to go and have dinner, so I'll come back and finish this video when I've had dinner. Weeze is back, we've had dinner. So as I was saying when I left you, I was saying how the job that I had over summer, I'm hopefully and will be going back to in about a month's time, and I'm so excited because I really love that job. I've met some really great people there and just had a lot of fun, and I just can't wait to go back because first of all, I cannot wait for the tips. I cannot wait to get my ankle tan line back. Even though it was sometimes stressful and it was really sometimes hard seeing people making the most of the summer and being out of lockdown, and seeing people from different parts of the country kind of coming to Brighton for a holiday while I was there getting hot, slaving away, working. And then in December I got a seasonal retail job just because I wasn't working then at the hospitality place, just to get a bit more money, just get a bit more experience. Also a couple of other fun things that happened when I was working at that job last summer, and I kind of hope happens this summer, is that I served a couple of like famous people. The first person that I served, his name's Giles Terrara, and he was in Horrible Histories, that's what I recognised him from. And he also played Aaron Burr in the West End version of Hamilton. I can't remember how many years ago, but he got an Olivier Award for it. And I just remember looking at him and being like, you're the one who does HHTV Sport from Horrible Histories.
Welcome back to HHTV Sport, bringing you live sporting events direct from the past.
And then someone else I served one morning for breakfast was, his name's Hugh Edwards, the Welsh news reporter. He does like BBC News.
Hello, I'm Hugh Edwards and I present the news on BBC One and on the BBC News channel.
I remember serving him and being like, I recognise your face, I recognise your voice. And then I realised who it was, but I was like, I don't know if it is. But then I went on his Instagram and saw that he was on Brighton Beach, so I was like, yeah, that's you. And that leads me on to the final thing that I want to talk about, and that's obviously what I want to do in the future. My future career goal is that I want to write TV shows, specifically TV dramas, scripted TV dramas. I don't know if that is what I'll end up doing. I know I want to work in the TV industry, and I want to work in some sort of way in the TV industry with development or production. Right now, all I can do is apply for runner jobs, and if you don't know what a runner is, it's just in the name. It's the person who run rounds and make sure that everyone is where they need to be, makes the coffees, and it's basically like the lower rung of the industry, but you have to start there. And that's fine by me, you know, it's experience, it's getting experience on a set that I've never had before. So that's really what I can apply for now, and obviously like trainee schemes. That is currently what I'm doing, but obviously with COVID, it's hard and there's not that many positions going at the moment, and obviously whenever there is, there's a lot of people applying to them because there's not as many going. I'm pushing, I'm working, and that was one of the things that really got my mental health really bad, because I was just like feeling like I was just going nowhere and all of this was pointless and that I was just gonna fail at life. I've been kind of positive about it recently and just trying to do little things that I know will help and kind of make me feel less stressed about it. In the long run, I do want to write TV show dramas, which I know at this time of my life I wouldn't be able to do because I don't have the money and the creative outlets and the advice and the help to do that. And also I don't have like amazing ideas that I want to create because I love TV. It's the main thing I love, alongside books and films and all that. Obviously COVID is kind of hindering that a little bit, but hopefully as we come out of lockdown for the last time, Boris, please, let's send good prayers, prayer circle that is what happens to be in my future. I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about. I had a really good time filming this video because it's just me sitting here ranting to my camera and just telling you stuff, even though it doesn't feel like I'm telling you guys stuff, even though it kind of does. If that makes sense, it probably doesn't. But I hope you did all enjoy this video. I know it's a lot different and I know it's not something that you guys can easily comment on because it's just about my life and it's not about books or anything. But if you do want to comment anything, feel free, even if you just comment a random emoji. I can't believe I've actually even filmed this video because as I said, there's stuff that I just would never have talked about before. But I have. I kind of pushed myself to. If you're new around here, do not forget to subscribe, turn my notification bell on so you know when I'm next going to post. And obviously I'll be posting more like bookish videos and stuff like that, not ones like this all the time. All my social media links are linked in the description below. And with that all said and done, I'll see you all in my next video.